What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today I have an absolute insane video for you. Why is Carvana failing? Now, we've been talking about this on the channel for over a year now. The way they run their operations, the way they structure their debt, and just their total operation doesn't make any sense. Now, I am a car guy. I'm not a financial wizard. I am not into investing, hedge funds, or the stock market. So when I started giving my opinion, I got a lot of slack over the last year. But I told them there's simple things you can look at that had the writing on the wall that spelled out doom and gloom. Now, I'm going to include a link to my friend's channel. It's called The Long Vol. He breaks down more of the financial aspect end, but I'm going to tell you on why they failed from an operations end and why this was doomed from the get-go. Now, before I get into the video, if you could do me a huge favor and gently squeeze the like button for YouTube algorithm, it helps me find more amazing people like yourselves enjoy automotive content. Also, please consider subscribing. We post quite a bit, and make sure you follow us on Instagram at Lucky Lopez, and let's get into the video. So I'm sure you guys have seen on the news, oh my God, Carvana's gonna file for bankruptcy. They're in trouble. We made that video over a month ago. We knew that Carvana was gonna be going to $0 or to $1 because of just the way they run their operations, which we're gonna explain here in a little bit. But the big thing that scares a lot of people and the thing that made me wanna make this video is the fact that their creditors, before there was any type of public announcement that there's filing for bankruptcy, they also see the writing on the wall and they've gotten together to work together to actually split up the assets. And what does this mean for the future going forward? Now, they owe $6.8 billion in debt. Between PIMCO and Apollo, they owe about $4 billion. Now, both of these companies are first positioned for certain assets. Now, I think they decided to get together, one, to save legal fees because you could tie this up for years in bankruptcy court. And two, it's better to split the piece of pie and get whatever you can without basically fighting over the scraps and everybody jumping in at once. So why is this such a big deal? Well, like I said, normally debtors and creditors fight over anything when it comes to bankruptcy. So the fact that these companies are proactively getting together and making an agreement and publicly announcing it is pretty much sealing the deal on Carvana's fate. They are burning through cash so quickly that they see that they're going to be running out of money. Now, we've talked about it for multiple times. Carvana has not had a single profitable quarter. I think they've had one in 10 years. Let that sink in. When this kicked off in 2020 and they became the darling of Wall Street and people were just throwing money at these guys and they basically featured themselves as a tech company. We're going to grow, we're going to market expand, we're going to get the biggest market, take up all the market share, and we're just going to take over the industry. Now, here's the big problem. This is why I tell everybody this is why Carvana failed and actually is failing today. Usually when you see some sort of new company come on the scene, they're better at something. Maybe they have a better software to algorithm to see what cars are selling best. They don't have that. Well, maybe they have some sort of financing program that's better than all the other dealerships. Nope, they don't have that. Well, maybe it's the fact that they revolutionized the industry with buying cars. They have some sort of algorithm that tells you what to buy cars that are better. Nope, they don't have that. If you've watched a few of our videos and you can see online, people sell Carvana absolute garbage cars. They don't even look at them and they overpay. They are the Zillow of the car industry. So for the last few years, they've been overbuying cars with no expertise and no quality people. Now, are they better with hiring people? No, they're not. We talked about this once again. There is no quality employees. If you go to any of these car vending machines or whatever local lots and you say, hey, show me your buyer, which is the person that buys the cars, or maybe your finance manager or your general manager, 90% of these people have never been in the car industry. They have no automotive experts in their folds. I think they do have them in some of the higher up positions, but nothing on the day-to-day operations, and that's where you bleed money. You know, where they're structured better when it comes to processing paperwork. Hell no. There's people out there that have been driving cars for 2 years with no plates. They've been arrested. People have had their cars impounded by the DMV and the police. All kinds of crazy stories. So what was something that revolutionized it? What made them such an amazing company that people invested billions of dollars? It was all the Garcia's plan to basically take as much money as they can and just bleed this pig dry as long as we possibly can. Now, everything they do, like I said, basically leads to doom and gloom. Even if they're profiting, I think now about $1,200 per car, their cost of debt is absolutely ridiculous, which brings them to a negative. I think they're losing about $1,000 a car after you tie in their debt with expenses and with everything else. So After they started laying off people, because now remember, they're cash strapped. They got to make some sort of money. How do they do this? They started laying off people. That's not going to make you money. That's just going to lower your overhead. Well, after this, they laid off even more people. Once again, still didn't make them any money. Now they're lowering prices of the cars, which is a little bit too late. Carvana was purchasing cars at the peak and paying top dollar for what was going on. Carvana has a little bit over $2.8 billion in inventory right now. And I'm going to show you a graph right here. Over the last several months, we've been losing about 1 to 2% per week as a market average when it comes to used car values. So we've been talking for a while that the market is cooling down. And like I said, it is losing an average of 1% a week. But November was a really bad month. Across the board, they lost 11.8% value in wholesale. Now, what does this mean? Well, if you're a company like Carvana that has $2.8 billion in inventory, just imagine losing 11.8% of that. I'm not sure what the number is, but I know it's a hell of a lot of money. And every week they don't sell a car, that money is dropping further and further. So their inventory is losing money. Every car they sell, they actually lose about $1,200 because their cost of debt and their operations cost so much that they're not profitable. There's nothing they can do to turn this thing around. I don't care how you restructure the debt, how you sell it off. There's nothing this company does that's revolutionary that's going to make them make a lot of money. So I'm very confident that this company is going to go to zero. So now that we're here, what are Carvana's options? Carvana only has 3 options. The first one is filing bankruptcy. They can file bankruptcy on their debt. A lot of people are going to get screwed. They're going to somehow weasel their way into getting rid of half of their debt and try to start up and maybe somehow be profitable from there. But I don't believe that. I think a lot of people, once they file bankruptcy, are going to tear this company apart and there'll be nothing left for anybody to basically rebuild. Their second option, purchased. Somebody is going to buy them out. Now, they did buy Odessa. They do have a lot of real estate. So there are lots of companies that probably like AutoNation or one of these other big auto groups that may be thinking of, hey, we could capitalize and take over this market share if we do it. But here's the problem. Carvana has put such a bad taste in the investors and bankers' mouths that I'm sure it'll be very hard for them to get any type of money to go ahead and buy this. And I know these large automotive groups are not going to want to personally use their capital to buy Carvana. They're going to want to put maybe a chunk down and finance the rest. And so I think it's going to be very, very hard for them to actually do that. Now, the third option that Carvana has is that the debtors or the creditors take over the business. Now, I think it's very suspicious that these two companies got together to basically jockey up and split the biggest piece of pie down the middle. Now, if they have some sort of agreement on that, there's not much stopping them from actually partnering up together and saying, you know what, we're going to go ahead and take over this company and run it. Now, you may be thinking, well, this is a finance company. Why would they take over a car dealership? Same thing happened here in Las Vegas. The Cosmopolitan, that company was owned by, I can't remember, another individual company, but when they filed bankruptcy, the debtor actually purchased it and ran the casino. So a hedge fund or a bank actually took a majority of the risk and ran the casino itself. It's not something that happens too often, but it is available. But I think that if that happened, they would probably hire automotive professionals to step in and actually run the business correctly. Just like this casino did, they hired MGM Grand or Mirage to actually run the operations of the casino because they knew that wasn't their specialty. So those are the 3 options that Carvana has. Everything they do basically spells doom and gloom. I believe this is their final breath. So the only thing they can do now is file bankruptcy, hopefully restructure, and see what they can do. Now, this is going to have major ripple effects across the entire automotive industry because a lot of people kept saying, oh, the demand is high, the demand is high. This just proves that demand is dwindling. The actual supply of vehicles is high because they got over $2.8 billion. Just imagine if that hits the market or hits the auctions. Dealers like myself are going to pay pennies on the dollar for some of these cars. So we're going to be able to get stuff maybe 70, 80% back of book where we can actually make some really good money on it. And this inventory will basically come out and flood the market. So there's a bunch of things that this is going to affect. Also lending. Remember, interest rates are going up. Banks don't want to take these massive risks like they used to. We talked about it in a few other videos. If you're financing a car at 120% of LTV and at the auction, I'm giving you 80% of wholesale, which is maybe a $5,000 to $8,000 gap, bank's not going to lean on that deficiency losses. They're losing big chunks of money. So remember, that credit noose is tightening. So if Carvana falls, supply builds up even more, there's less demand, and credit is getting harder and harder to get, and rates are getting higher. So everything spells basically doom and gloom for this business and really hurts the automotive industry. Now, the reason why it personally disappoints me is because I have a similar idea for Carvana. I wanted to make purchasing cars online very simplistic and very easy. But now they've made it almost impossible for anybody like me or another company to come up, because nobody's going to want to invest. No hedge funds want to give us money to grow and expand our ideas in business, because all they're going to think of is Carvana. Look what happened to Carvana. Now, I don't think that Carvana was dumb. I don't think the Garcias were dumb. I've heard over and over again, these gentlemen are extremely smart. And I could see it on the wall. They were selling their stock at the high, riding it the whole way down. They were giving the company certain injections of money to position themselves to get more money. They're not dumb. They bled this pig the whole way along, and they still have a big payday towards the end, which I'm going to make a video about here in a little bit. But anyways, I would love to hear your comments about Carvana. Please put them in the comment section below. I know this has been kind of a long-winded video, but it means a lot to me if you put your experience with Carvana, if you have any issues, and also if they file bankruptcy and you don't get your title paperwork, make sure you file a complaint with the DMV and you talk to your whatever bank that you're dealing with. There are programs where they will forgive your debt if the dealership goes bankrupt. So anyways, if you have any questions, message me. I'm at Lucky Lopez on Instagram. My email's down in the description below. And once again, hit me in the comment section, and we'll see you next video.